Here's something nobody tells you about making beautiful platters. People aren't impressed by how expensive the ingredients are. They're impressed by how the platter looks. The colour, the texture, the way everything comes together. And that means you can create a platter that looks seriously impressive without spending a fortune. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you'll notice I'm finally in my new kitchen studio. Sometime soon I'll give you a tour if you're interested, but today I want to tackle this common misconception that platters need to be expensive. To illustrate this, we're going to make this cheap and beautiful charcuterie board. As always on this channel, we'll break it down into small steps so you can create it in your own kitchen. The first thing we need is our platter, but before we can choose the platter, we really need to be able to see and visualize what we'd like to put onto the platter. Let's have a look at what we've got that we could use. I've got a wide variety of suitable charcuterie board ingredients here. There's far more than we need, but it will help me to explain the different thought processes I go through when I'm putting together a platter. Now we've got all the possible ingredients out, we can visualize which platter will work best. We could use this board. I love this one, but maybe it's a bit big for what we need today. Then we've got this one. This is very good, but maybe a bit small. This square one could work, but that one probably a bit small too, maybe more for 6 people. And then we've got this round one. I love the round one because you can either bunch the things up in the middle with a bigger border, or you can push it right to the edge and fill it up quite a lot. So I think we'll go with this one. It's always nice when you're buying your ingredients for a platter to think about the variety. So there's 4 different cheese here. We've got a blue cheese. It's a nice little half circle shape. We've also got a wedge of a Gouda. This is a bit of a firmer cheese, quite different to the blue, obviously. This one here is an apricot and almond, more cream cheese, soft cheese, and a camembert. But it's always good to kind of stick to 3 rather than 4. So I think we'll leave this one out today. Then we've got a half moon, a wedge, a round one, and they vary a lot in the style of cheese. Thinking about our dips, we'll go for the pesto, but maybe we'll give the onion dip a miss today, and we'll use the pear and ginger paste. It's good to think about the flavour combinations that can be created with the different components. Pear and blue cheese, for example, are an incredible combination, so that's why I've chosen to keep the pear paste and leave off the onion dip. Often the hardest part with putting together a platter is knowing where to start. We've got all our ingredients, now it's time to put them on the board, but where do we begin? I like to start with the condiments or the things in little bowls or ramekins. They're solid and can't be easily squeezed into gaps, so they're perfect to use as a starting point. For this platter, I'd like to use the same type and size of bowl for both condiments so it doesn't look like a mishmash. If you've bought dips and condiments, you can leave them in the jars they come in, but it does look more professional if you use glass instead of plastic. Once the bowls are in place, I like to move on to the next biggest things. In this case, it's the cheese. Having 3 pieces of cheese is a good number for the size of this board. I'll position them in a triangle so they're nicely spaced. You can pre-cut the cheese or leave it whole. It depends on how you plan to serve the board. Do you want to serve it with a cheese knife for your guests to cut the cheese themselves? Or do you want to pre-cut the cheese so it's easy to pick up a little piece to add to your crackers? It's definitely something worth thinking about before you carry on. If you're cutting the cheese, try to keep the pieces as evenly sized as possible and fan them out on the board for the best visual effect. I'll put this down here on the other side and let's talk about where we're at. So we've got our two bowls here in the centre. I know there's two, but we're going to offset it with a little salami rose on the side, which will make it visually balanced. And then we've got the three different cheese near the edge of the board so that it's easily accessible and they're not sort of all clumped together. And we've left a bit of a border around the edge so that everything doesn't look too crammed in. Now's the fun part of filling in all the gaps with our remaining ingredients. Let's make that salami rose I was talking about. We need a glass. Any glass will work, but the smaller the rim, the tighter the rose will be. Making a salami rose is an easy edible garnish. It's adding meat to the platter in a simple decorative way. Salami is one of the more affordable sliced meat options you can add to a platter. Doesn't that look amazing for the minimal effort it took? Next we can add the ham. Meat folds are so important because straight out of the packet, just like this doesn't do it, does it? This isn't practical. The pieces can't be easily picked up and it looks a bit flat. If you loosely roll or fold the meat, it looks so much better. On my website at easypeasy.co, I have an article dedicated to meat folds with lots of different styles for you to try. They all have step-by-step photos to help guide you through. Go check it out, there's a link in the description. Folding meat is such an easy way to give your platter a bit of class and it only takes a few extra seconds. I'm going to add another lot of ham on the other side of the board. You can add any meat to your board, but this is where things can get expensive. You can mix a few more special things with a few more affordable options to fill out the platter. This will help to keep the cost down. So we've got the basis of our platter all done. All we need to do now is fill in the gaps using our crackers and fruit. Making a beautiful platter doesn't necessarily mean all expensive ingredients. You can buy some expensive things, like I have got some prosciutto here, which is a nice addition to the platter, but it doesn't all have to be smoked salmon and prosciutto and only the best quality meats. You can fill in the gaps with more affordable options, like the ham and the salami. Another great way to keep the cost down is to make things from scratch. So I've made this basil pesto, and there's also the pear paste. I don't make lots of these things, but every now and again I have some ingredients and I turn them into a chutney or something and keep it in my pantry. So there's usually something on hand to add that homemade touch. So with the prosciutto, I don't want to add that to the platter now and hide it under all the other ingredients. I'm going to add it near the end so that it's got a nice place on the platter. The same goes for your cracker selection. You don't have to buy only the gourmet crackers. Of course, you can get something a little more special and then offset it with something more affordable. One of my favourite crackers are plain water crackers because they're not going to overpower the flavours of the cheese and toppings. These are the things we want to shine, so a plain unflavoured or lightly flavoured cracker is often the best option. Notice how I'm lining up these crackers in rough rows. If you simply put a handful down on the board, it doesn't look quite the same, does it? So arrange your crackers with intention. It'll look so much tidier. These rectangle crackers are a little more rustic, but I'm still layering them towards the inside of the board so that it looks neat. If there are any broken crackers, just take them out. It will look more professional. Platter's filling up quite a lot, so we've still got some other crackers and pretzels. I'm just going to put the other things on first and see how full it looks. Otherwise, another alternative, if you've got some extras, when people are eating the platter and it starts to go down, you can always come and top up the crackers. Adding fresh fruit is a great addition to a platter. I've got some delicious red grapes here. They're in season and they're so sweet and delicious. I'll give them a quick wash. Remember when you're adding fresh fruit to keep it seasonal. Seasonal fruit is much more affordable and it tastes better. Right now, we can still buy strawberries here even though it's winter, but they look pale and they're half white, not the bright, beautiful red strawberries we get when they're in season. And they're double the price. They won't be sweet and juicy either, so it's just not worth it in my opinion. Adding dried fruit is a great alternative if you can't find much suitable seasonal fruit. Little piles of these around the platter can add pops of colour and fill in any little gaps you may have ended up with. You're pretty much adding an edible garnish. So we're almost there. You will notice there's a little bit of sort of quite browny yellows in a few spots around the platter. So to break that kind of colouring up, we can add like our bright red tomatoes, or we could add some of these nice dried cranberries to fill in the gaps. So I'll add some of them. I love how versatile a charcuterie board is. You can add olives, sun-dried tomatoes, pickles. There are so many options to use the things you can find at the supermarket or veggie shop. There's always something on special that will work on your platter. Remember to keep anything briny or wet in smaller bowls so the crackers don't go soggy. Notice how I've tried to keep the border around the edge roughly the same all the way around the board. This keeps the platter looking balanced rather than lopsided. These small tips will make your platter look as good as it tastes. When it looks right, it also looks expensive, even though it's not. I'm going to add the prosciutto now. I didn't add it earlier because we don't want it hidden under everything else. It's one of the more expensive things, so we want it visible. The slices are quite large, so I've cut them smaller. Don't forget to fold or bunch them up a little to give them some depth and dimension. We could leave this platter just like this, but something's missing. It needs a garnish. I'm just going to grab some fresh herbs from the garden. Got some lovely fresh rosemary here, so let's see what a difference this will make. A few sprigs here and there add some height and freshness to our platter. This is such a simple finishing touch, yet it makes all the difference, doesn't it? I'll pop in some spoons and cheese knives so the platter is right ready to go. It should comfortably serve about 8 to 10 adults depending on when you serve it and if you're serving anything else alongside it. Just like that, we've created a beautiful platter without an expensive price tag. If this is the sort of thing you're into, here's another video that might interest you. See you over there.